Hello friends and welcome. I have a hunch that if I mention the names of two iconic Hollywood stars from the 50s and 60s, you could immediately picture their faces and also identify one or more aspects of their makeup that made them look absolutely unforgettable. Well, believe it or not, the makeup artists who created the iconic looks for Marilyn Monroe and Audrey Hepburn used several makeup techniques that can work especially well for those of us who are over 50. But before we take a look at these techniques, I want to do three quick things. First, welcome those of you who are returning to this channel. Second, welcome those of you who are new to this channel. And third, also acquaint those of you who are new with what this channel is all about. Quite simply put, I'm a working professional makeup artist who exclusively helps those of us who are over 50 look like the most confident, polished, and put together version of ourselves. We deserve to look our absolute best and know the tips, techniques, and makeup products that work the best for us now so we can look like ourselves but better. And on this channel, we also touch on fashion and wellness tips along the way. So if the focus of this channel sounds like your cup of tea, please subscribe before you leave today. So let's go ahead and get to today's topic. Recently, I was doing some research for one of my weekly newsletter articles, and the article focused on the techniques used by the two top makeup artists who created the iconic screen looks of Audrey Hepburn and Marilyn Monroe. And by the way, if you'd like to receive my newsletter, all you need to do is simply drop me a line at boomerandbeyondbeauty@gmail.com, and I'll make sure it reaches you each Thursday. Makeup artist Alberto Di Rossi is credited with creating the iconic doe eyes of Audrey Hepburn and was her makeup artist for 25 years. He was also the designer of Elizabeth Taylor's dramatic eyes for Cleopatra and was Ava Gardner's favorite makeup artist as well. Alberto Di Rossi continues to inspire makeup artists to this day and believed women should understand color harmony, meaning knowing what colors work for their individual skin tone and eye color, instead of simply following trends. Marilyn Monroe's bold lip, defined brows, big lashes, and beauty mark on her cheek were the creation of Whitney Snyder. Snyder was Marilyn Monroe's makeup artist throughout her entire career, from her first screen test at 20th Century Fox in 1946 to her funeral makeup in 1962. He was also a pallbearer at her funeral. Now, I know you may be thinking, Elise, come on, let's be real. How can aspects of either of these looks work for us? But hang in here with me, and I think you'll see what a big difference just a few of these techniques can make to us. Thankfully, one big difference between the makeup of the 1950s and the 1960s and the makeup of today is that we don't have to improvise with various products like Vaseline that these makeup artists used. We're blessed to have access to some amazing makeup products now that simply weren't available to Alberto Di Rossi and Whitney Snyder. Well, first, let's focus on skin preparation. Audrey Hepburn knew the importance of drinking lots of water. She knew that water is not only beneficial for the skin, but also supports the entire body. And since drinking coffee can contribute to dehydration, if we're coffee drinkers, we need to drink even more water. Audrey also had a weekly detox day when she would only eat fruits, vegetables, yogurt, and water. And she usually had detox drinks to recover from jet lag. As far as skin preparation for Marilyn Monroe, Whitney Snyder used to love to add a wonderful glow to Marilyn's skin by prepping her very dry skin with Vaseline. He also used Vaseline as highlighter on her cheekbones, and after her eye makeup was complete, he'd add a tiny dot of Vaseline to her eyelids to give them a glossy look. Now, I think I can safely say that rubbing Vaseline all over our face most likely doesn't sound very appealing to most of us. But what we can do is add some beautiful glow to our faces, as Marilyn did, either by using a foundation with a glowy finish or by using a drugstore product like e.l.f.'s Halo Glow Filter as our face primer before applying makeup. Or we can simply mix some of it with our foundation. This will add some beautiful soft glow to our skin. I'm going to use just my plain Catrice foundation that has a natural but not glowy finish on one side of my face, and on the other side of my face I'll add some of the e.l.f. Halo Glow product to my Catrice foundation to mimic the lovely soft glow of Marilyn's complexion. So first I'm putting the Catrice foundation that has a natural finish all by itself just on this side of my face. And then I've added some of this e.l.f. product to the Catrice foundation for the other side of my face. I just dot it on first. And I think you can already see the difference that the added glow makes on this side of my face. Now let's take a close-up of each side of my face to see if you can notice a difference. This is the side with just the Catrice foundation without the e.l.f. Halo Glow, and this is the side of my face with the Halo Glow added to the Catrice foundation. Next, let's focus on eyebrows. The thin brows of the 1920s and 1930s gave way to a more natural look in the 40s and 50s. Audrey's eyes were always framed by filled-in full brows, as were Marilyn's. Filling in our brows can make a huge difference in framing our eyes, which makes them look bigger and brings more attention to them. I'm going to go ahead and fill in one of my brows so you can really see what a difference this makes. I'm going to be using my Beige Brow Powder Duo in medium brown. I like to first just start with the lighter color and just sort of create the outline. And then once that's filled in, I go with the darker color. Then I'm taking my very thin brow pencil, which is from ABH, it's their Brow Wiz, and I'm filling in along the top because I have very scraggly brows along the top, and I also have a scar, which makes it hard for the powder to adhere to that part. And then I'm going to use my spoolie to just blend it all in. Also notice that there is a slight arch to Audrey's brows, and Marilyn's makeup artist took it one step farther. Her brows were filled in and kept brown, several shades darker than her actual hair color, but her brows were quite arched. Now, there is a fine line, and excuse the pun, when creating arched brows. If we create too much of an arch, we can look like one of those evil characters in a Walt Disney film. For instance, I think we can all picture the overly arched eyebrows of the evil queen in Snow White. But adding just a slight arch to our brows, if we don't have an arch, can really give the illusion of more lifted and larger eyes. Let me demonstrate, because my brows don't naturally have much of an arch, so I'm going to go ahead and add a slight arch. So I'm taking my pencil and I'm just going slightly up right here, just a little bit, and then down. And I think you can see that just that arch really lifts the eye area. Now, let's take a look at the eyes of Audrey Hepburn and Marilyn Monroe. They're definitely very different, but surprisingly, both makeup artists used very similar techniques to emphasize the beautiful eyes of both of these women. And this technique is something we can do as well to make our eyes look bigger and really stand out. Notice that Audrey Hepburn does not have a dark colored eyeshadow across her eyelids, and neither does Marilyn. Alberto de Rossi used a light color on Audrey's eyelids, and Whitey Snyder actually applied a white cream on Marilyn's eyelids, and it went all the way from her lashes up to her eyebrows. So we can definitely create the look of bigger eyes by applying a lighter color all the way from our lash line all the way up to our eyebrows. Or if we don't want to take it up that high, we can still make our eyes look bigger by just applying it all over our eyelids and under the arch of our brow. Now, just for the fun of it, I'm going to apply a light color all the way from my lash line to my eyebrow. And I'm using one of e.l.f.'s bite-size eyeshadow palettes called I Love You a Latte. And I'm taking the lightest color and I'm applying it all the way from my lash line all the way up. This follows the color theory principle that light brings things forward and dark makes things recede. So by putting a light color, we're bringing our eyes forward, which makes them look bigger. And I'm going to add just a little bit more right under my arch, which helps lift the eye. The next step with the eyes is creating more depth and definition, and we can do this by putting a mid-tone neutral color in the eyelid crease and slightly above the crease to create the illusion of more depth. Let's see how this looked on Audrey and Marilyn. That mid-tone brown color definitely adds interest and dimension to the eyes. I'm going to go ahead and mix together the two mid-tone colors from the e.l.f. I Love You a Latte Bite-Size Eyeshadow Quad, which I just used. And I'm going to apply it in the crease and slightly above the crease. And by the way, this is an especially good method for hooded eyes, but it works well for all of us. And I'm using these two middle colors. As you can see, I'm getting it right into the crease, but I'm also going above the crease. And then I'm just taking a fluffy brush and going around the edges to get rid of any harsh lines. It's pretty apparent from these photos that eyeliner was an essential part of the eye look for both Audrey and Marilyn. But for many of us, applying eyeliner is a bit more challenging than it used to be. But I'm going to use an eyeliner application technique that makes it far easier to apply eyeliner. And if you're interested in additional ways to make eyeliner easier to apply, I've put a link in the description box to a full video I did on this topic. And in the description box, you'll also find links to all the products that I'm using today. I'm going to take an angled eyebrow brush, rub it across a regular eyeliner, and then use the brush to apply the eyeliner. What's great about this technique is that you don't have to apply the eyeliner perfectly, because you can just use the brush to go back over the eyeliner to smooth out the line. Using the brush not only makes the eyeliner look perfect, but it also makes the eyeliner look more natural. And this is the eyebrow brush that I'll be using. And I'm going to be rubbing it across this eyeliner. And I do not have good eyesight out of my left eye, so this is always a more challenging eye for me, but I'm just going as close to the lash line as possible and just sort of feeling my way along. I certainly didn't apply it perfectly the first time around, but I was able to use the brush to fill in the little gaps that I created when I didn't do it so perfectly. Marilyn also used a white eyeliner in the waterline under her eyes to make her eyes look bigger. Now, since white is great on a movie set or for photos, but it looks a little too stark in real life, it's best for us to use a nude shade. And I'm going to be using the matte side of this highlighter pencil. And I'm simply going to put it all the way across this lower waterline. And as you can tell from these photos, emphasizing the eyes by applying mascara was very important. In fact, it's said that Alberto de Rossi actually used a pin to separate each of Audrey's eyelashes so she'd have perfectly defined lashes. Well, I certainly hope none of us will do that, but what we can do is use a tubing mascara that is especially good for adding length to the lashes, and it also does a great job of also separating the lashes. I'm going to go ahead and use my Doll 10 Effort Lash Mascara, which is a tubing mascara. Tubing mascara lengthens the lashes and it separates them. And I'm also going to add some mascara to the bottom lashes. Now onto lips. Audrey's makeup artist often had her wear a light pink lipstick so her eyes could be the star of the show. But Marilyn's lips were front and center standout features, as we know. Her makeup artist, Whitey Snyder, is credited with the concept of lip contouring. He contoured her lips to create her signature pout by applying 5 lip products on her lips. Darker colors were applied toward the edges of the lips and lighter colors in the middle. A bit of white highlight was also added to the middle of her lower lip, and finally a coat of gloss completed the look. And the use of a lip brush in this technique was essential. Now, this clever use of lipstick made her lips look fuller and her overall appearance more glamorous. Now, we certainly aren't going to do all of that, but we can make our lips look fuller by applying lip liner along the outer edge of our lips rather than just on top of the lip line. And we can also use the lip liner to fill in the edges of our lips a little bit more. Then we can go ahead and add our regular lipstick to the lips and apply a touch of lighter gloss to the lips afterwards. I'm first going to blot out my lip line with concealer so I can edge along the outer edge of my lips so it looks a little bit more natural that way. Marilyn loved a glowy look, so she used as little powder as possible. So I'm just going to add some of my Laura Mercier setting powder to my T-zone area. And I'm also going to add another product to create some more glow, which I'm sure Marilyn would have absolutely loved. I'm going to use Hourglass's Ambient Light Finishing Powder, which does a fabulous job of adding a beautiful subtle glow to the face. And I'm just going to add a touch of blush. As a child, Marilyn grew up in several foster homes and orphanages. She never had any money and she had few possessions, so she really cherished the little things, including some of her makeup. In her autobiography, she wrote, "I stood in front of the mirror one morning and put lipstick on my lips. I darkened my blonde eyebrows, and I had no money for clothes and had no clothes other than my orphan's rig. But the lipstick and mascara were like my clothes. I saw that they improved my looks as much as if I'd put on a real beautiful gown." At the age of 14, with just a few products, Marilyn realized the power of makeup. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if so, please hit that thumbs up icon to let the YouTube algorithm know. And I hope you'll also let all of us know in the comments section who were some of your favorite Hollywood stars from years gone by. And I thought it would be appropriate today to end with some beautiful words attributed to Audrey Hepburn. She said, "For beautiful eyes, look for the good in others. For beautiful lips, speak only words of kindness. And for poise, walk with the knowledge that you are never alone." Until we see each other again, I wish you good health and happiness and hope you have a really fabulous rest of your day. Take care.